Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here, welcome back to another Destiny 2 video, and in this video I thought we'd take a look at all the exotics you can earn in the Curse of Osiris DLC, the weapons, the gear, the ghost shells, give you guys a quick overview of the perks. There's a grand total of 6 weapons, 5 currently in the database, 1 that is a mystery, and there are also 4 gear pieces per class, 2 of which are returning, 2 of which are new. So if you do enjoy this video, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions, but let's get started. So first things first, the Prometheus Lens, what we were temporarily calling the Warm Heart, basically the polar opposite to Cold Heart. This is the second exotic trace rifle. The main perk for this is Prismatic Inferno. Fires a solar trace beam and generates a damaging heat field that grows while the weapon continues to fire. On top of that, you also have the Chambered Compensator to increase stability, moderately control recoil, and slightly decrease your handling speed. You have Projection Fuse to further increase your range. You have Flame Refraction, where kills with this weapon return a fraction of the ammo used to the magazine, extending the beam's duration. And finally, you have Composite Stock to increase your stability and increase your handling speed. Now, I've seen this weapon in action, I don't have it myself just yet. All these exotics, at least bar the mystery shotgun that we'll speak about in a moment, come from engrams, so largely your acquisition is going to be RNG based. So just praise the RNG gods, hope you get lucky. All of my exotics so far have turned into old Destiny 2 launch items, which is quite frustrating, but I have seen this weapon in action. It does look pretty potent. The longer you can maintain that beam, the bigger the heat field gets, so it does look like it could be pretty tasty to use. Moving on from there, you then have the first returning exotic from Destiny 1, Telesto. I actually quite like this weapon. I really enjoyed it in Destiny 1. It's basically Destiny's equivalent to the Needler, if you guys played Halo, slightly. The main perk for this is Unplanned Reprieve, where fusion projectiles attach and detonate with a delayed Void Blast. You also have Projection Fuse, which increases your range. You have Harbinger's Pulse, where multi-kills with this weapon immediately reload your equipped kinetic and energy weapons from reserves. And you have Polymer Grip, where this weapon's grip is made of lighter material and it increases your handling speed. Now bear in mind, fusion rifles, now being a power weapon, they are actually pretty potent. In Destiny 2, I do quite like using them a fair bit, so I'm definitely interested to see how this one will fare this time round. On top of that, you also have the Jade Rabbit, the other returning exotic. This one's quite interesting because, of course, if you guys played on Xbox, I played all of Destiny 1 on Xbox. We didn't get this weapon until basically when Destiny 2 came out, which is really annoying. So a lot of you guys probably never had a chance to try this weapon, but it is an exotic scout rifle. The main perk is Fate of All Fools. You can chain body shots to gain bonus damage on your next precision shot and return ammo to the magazine. You also have polygonal rifling to increase stability, armor-piercing rounds to cause extra damage to combatants' shields and over-penetrate targets, also slightly increasing your range. And you have Zen Moment, causing damage with this weapon increases its stability. It also has a pretty sweet ornament. Don't forget that, of course, there are new ornaments for both gear and weapons now, but the Jade Rabbit one does look pretty cool. Almost looks like something that D.Va would use in Overwatch. On top of that, you have probably one of the most exciting new exotics, partly because it's an exotic grenade launcher, and grenade launchers have, up until this point, been pretty rubbish. But this one, the Colony, the main perk for this, or the intrinsic perk, is Insectoid Robot Grenades. This weapon's grenades are insectoid robots that chase targets and explode close to them. On top of that, you have Linear Compensator to slightly increase your projectile speed, your blast radius, and your stability. You have high velocity rounds, where the weapon's projectiles are particularly light and quick, increase your projectile speed and your reload speed. You have Serve the Colony, where insectoid robot grenades quickly repopulate the magazine from the reserves while the colony is unequipped. And you then have Composite Stock to increase your stability and increase your handling speed. As for the final one, at least the one that's in the database, is the Crimson, the exotic hand cannon, the Red Death hand cannon, if you will. I actually put up a video on this one last night, so if you guys want to see that, I will link it down below. The intrinsic perk for this one is Banned Weapon, where the weapon fires a 3-round burst, which is pretty cool. You also have Small Bore to increase your range and your stability. You have Accurized Rounds for a further increase to range. You have Cruel Remedy, where kills with the weapon heal the wielder, and precision kills also refill the magazine, and as discovered yesterday, it doesn't refill the magazine from the reserves, it just straight up refills it, so you can essentially keep this one going, provided you're stacking precision kills. And then finally, Heavy Grip, increase your stability and decreases your handling speed. So, those are the weapons, at least listed in the database, of the weapons that we haven't encountered. The main one worth calling out that we haven't seen is this one from the trailer. It is an exotic shotgun. Chances are it's probably going to be tied to the new raid lair, kind of like how the Legend of Aeon or Aeon was tied to the Leviathan raid. So it's either going to be that, or it's going to be linked to some sort of secret. So for the time being, that one's a mystery, but of course once I do know more, I will let you guys know. So moving on from there to the exotic armor pieces, starting off with the Hunter. The first item is the Graviton Forfeit. This is an item I use quite a bit in Year 1. Bear in mind, it doesn't have quite as much use in Year 2 because the main reason you used it in Year 1 was to unlock another node in your skill tree, but given that skill trees are quite basic now, that is not something that is applicable this time around. So the main perk for this, Vanishing Shadow, instead increases the duration of any invisibility effects, and your melee recharges faster while you're invisible. So potentially interesting, not sure whether it's going to be quite as enticing this time round, but either way, that's the first returning item. The next item are the Aeon Swift exotic gauntlets. Now, these are a guaranteed item. Every single person that completes the campaign and goes back to speak to Ikora Ray will get these if you're a hunter, and there are also Titan and Warlock equivalents. Now, these are quite interesting just because they basically promote playing as a team, and they work well if you encounter other people wearing these items. The main perk, Aeon Energy. Dodging grants the following to nearby Aeon cult allies: Grenade Energy to Warlocks, Barricade Energy to Titans, and Dodge Energy to Hunters, and other allies will receive a fraction of the shared energy. Now, if you're within proximity of other quote-unquote Aeon cult members, the blue spikes will come out your arms to show that you're in proximity, and when you do that, performing your respective action is what will then recharge your team. So essentially, if you have a group of people running with these together, you can all collectively help recharge your abilities pretty quickly. And then of course it means in situations where you want to use them more frequently, then you can definitely get some use out of that. So I've done some preliminary testing with this. They definitely have some interesting results. I definitely want to test these in high level encounters to see just how much value they provide, but they are definitely an interesting set of exotics. The other returning item for the hunters is of course the Shinobu's Bow, exotic gauntlets. New Tricks is the intrinsic perk, improves skip grenade, and you gain an additional skip grenade charge. And then finally you have the GEMINI Jester, brand new exotic legs. I did a video on these ones. If you guys want to check that, I will also link that down below. But the main perk for this, Misdirection, dodging disorients nearby enemies and temporarily removes their radars, which I said before would probably provide some rather interesting utility in high level encounters. Think about raids when you're getting rushed by ads, then this will give you guys a chance to basically put them on cooldown and give you a few seconds to regain some composure. Moving on to the Titans, you have Khepri's Horn, the exotic helmet. The main perk for this, Solar Rampart. Solar damage kills recharge your barricade, which unleashes a blast of solar energy when summoned. You also have the Helm of Saint-14, a returning item from Destiny 1. The main perk for this, Starless Night. Your Ward of Dawn blinds enemies that enter it, and Guarding with Sentinel Shield temporarily blinds nearby enemies. That's pretty cool because, of course, in Destiny 1 it hinged solely on the use of the bubble, but given that in Destiny 2 we have the option to switch between bubble or shield, it means that when you are in the shield mode, it doesn't render this helmet useless. So that is pretty sweet. Definitely had some utility again in raids and high level encounters before, making it a pretty good way to manage ads and just generally speaking control certain enemies or control space. After that, you also have the Titan equivalent of the Aeon cult item, the Aeon Safe. Similar thing here, summoning a barricade as the Titan will grant the following to nearby Aeon cult allies: Grenade Energy to Warlocks, Barricade Energy to Titans, and Dodge Energy to Hunters. And again, if you don't have one of these items equipped and you are just another ally, then you will receive a fraction of it. So it benefits your whole team, but of course it benefits you more so if you're wearing one of these items and you are a quote-unquote Aeon cult member. Finally, you have the Mark 44 standard sides, exotic legs. Seriously watch out is the intrinsic perk. Grants an overshield when sprinting at full health, with Seismic Strike, Hammer Strike, or Shield Bash equipped. Hits with these abilities recharge a portion of your melee energy. Finally, for the Warlocks, you have your first returning item, the Stag, an exotic helmet. Dearly Departed will grant you Rift energy when you are critically wounded, and on your death, it will create a brief healing rift on your corpse, which could be quite useful because if you think about it, if someone runs to try and revive you, then it means they can be healed while standing on your body. You also have Ophidian Aspect, the other returning exotic, a really cool looking item. Main perk for this one is Cobra Totemic. Weapons ready and reload very quickly. Melee range is extended. So not necessarily that useful when you compare it to some of the other options, but it definitely looks pretty sweet. You also have the Warlock equivalent of the Aeon cult item, the Aeon Soul. Very similar thing, but for the Warlocks, throwing grenades will grant the following energy to your cult members. Again, Grenade Energy for Warlocks, Barricade Energy for Titans, and Dodging Energy for Hunters. So basically, if you have a complete Aeon team here, when Hunters dodge, when Titans use barricades, and when Warlocks throw grenades, you are all systematically recharging your respective abilities. And finally, you also have Vesper of Radius, an exotic chess piece. Planetary Torrent is the intrinsic perk. Rifts release an arc shockwave when cast. Rift energy recharges faster when you're surrounded by enemies. Now, that sounds interesting in practice, you know, being able to drop a shockwave when you put down a rift definitely sounds cool, but do bear in mind we've seen, say, like the ACD0 feedback fence before where they sent out a shockwave when you got hit, and that never proved to be too effective, so until I can actually see this in practice, I'm not too sure quite how good that will be, but it definitely sounds rather exciting. Of course, on top of that, there are also 6 different exotic ghost shells that come from the bright engrams, or the new bright engrams, whatever they're called. So you have Sagira's shell, which is pretty sweet, given that it is one of the most striking ghost shells. Plus, you have these interesting rounded designs, the Electronica shell, the Fastlane shell, the Fire Victorious, the Star Map, and finally the Cosmos shell. So, that's pretty much it. That's a quick kind of brief overview of the perks of all the exotics you can earn. So a grand total of 6 weapons, 2 of which are returning, 1 of them is currently a mystery, and also 4 armor pieces per class, 2 returning, 2 new, and a set of ghost shells as well. So for the time being, that's it. Keep it locked, because again, I've got plenty more videos coming your way. If you haven't seen the videos from yesterday, then I've got a look at the Crimson exotic hand cannon, the GEMINI Jester legs, and also a quick guide on unlocking the forging process for those of you guys that want to start crafting the Osiris-themed weapons. So all of those are linked down below. Thanks very much for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.